You know what? I took up so much space during the setup of my piece that I don't have a spot for my cup of tea. Screw it. Good enough. Ah. This is new, isn't it? So for those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, I've mentioned several times that I've been wanting to make cooking videos. Stop it! And I consider myself kind of a specialist of Indian cuisine. Now I see a lot of questions on the cooking subreddit of how to use spices, what they would need to make basic Indian food. So in this video I'm going to talk about what spices you need, what you don't, and how to use them. So if that interests you, stick around. Let's talk about the spices that you 100% need in your kitchen. You can make a lot of dishes with these, and they are basically your beginner spices. First off, let's talk about the powders. There are 3 of them: Kashmiri chili powder, turmeric, and garam masala. Now, Kashmiri chili powder is primarily a color reagent. It is an extremely bright and vibrant red and has a smoky aroma about it. It's absolutely lovely. You can just sniff it straight from the jar. It's great. Now, you can substitute this if you don't have an Indian grocer near you. You just need a 1/4 teaspoon of hot cayenne pepper and 3/4 teaspoon of paprika. It won't be exactly the same, but will give you a decent amount of color. Next is turmeric, which you can find just about anywhere. This is 100% used for color, almost no flavor to it, but you can go overboard. If you add too much, you will get this weird, chalky, bitter mouthfeel. It's quite unpleasant. I have accidentally added it to dals a little bit too much. It's completely ruined them. Now, if you don't know, dals are basically a boiled down lentil thing. I'll talk about that in the next video when I talk about pantry staples. Now, what was the third one? Garam masala. Now, any garam masala is essentially good, but when you're looking for a garam masala, you want to go for the one with the least ingredients, because it's more about the true essence of it. You want to look for something that has something, say, black cardamom, pepper, cassia, cloves, 5 at the maximum. It's normally added at the start or at the end, and just sort of brings everything together. It's sort of like salt. It's a seasoning. It shouldn't really be a main flavor. And there are so many different types. Just find one you like and go nuts. Now, the whole spices. We have 3 here: cumin, coriander, and mustard seeds. Now, you can buy the powders. Cumin and coriander, or not, there's no mustard seed powder. You can buy cumin and coriander powder. However, I don't recommend buying cumin powder because cumin powder grinds down so easily, while coriander seeds, they're very papery and they're just a real pain to get down. Now, there is a difference in how they are used, because of their size and the oils in them. Cumin seeds are often thrown into the starts of a dish, and they impart the oil with their flavor, which is sort of earthy and a little bit musky. I think that's the best way I can put it, I don't know. But why do we get whole seeds? Well, the reason we buy whole seeds is that we can toast them and then sort of grind them down with a bunch, because toasting them gives a whole bunch of new flavors. It breaks down the oils. So, when you want to buy these, I would recommend buying whole cumin seeds, coriander seeds, and coriander powder, not cumin powder, because freshly ground cumin seeds are great. Mustard seeds are used similarly to whole cumin in that they are thrown into the oil at the start. When you use these, you want to cover away from them first of all, because they will start splattering and flying everywhere. It can be quite insane if you do it correctly. They impart an almost nutty aroma. It's quite pungent. Usually about a teaspoon is added. Sometimes they are ground down, but rarely. And when it is ground down, it's usually in a Bengali 5 spice mix, which I'll talk about in a bit. Alright, so that is your 5 spices. Recap: red chili powder, turmeric powder, cumin seeds, whole coriander seeds, coriander powder, and turmeric powder. I think I missed one. Whatever, doesn't matter. You can go back. Alright, let's talk about the larger whole spices, or what I'm going to call the garam masalas. Some of these may be in garam masala or not. As I said, you want to go for the one with the least ingredients. First off, we're going to talk about the cinnamony kind of stuff. Cassia and cinnamon. Now, these are essentially interchangeable. The difference between them is that cassia is a bit more licoricey and sweeter in its flavor and aroma, while cinnamon is a little bit more piquant and, well, the flavor is a little bit less. If you can only find one of these, most of you will find cinnamon. I would go for cassia bark, personally. They are interchangeable in recipes. I've used them in one recipe when I've forgot it, and it turned out fine. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. The way they are used is that they are chucked into hot oil at the start, while they are ground into garam masala. Pretty simple stuff, or a whole spice mix for your dish. Now, cardamoms. We have 2 varieties here. We have black cardamom, and where is it? Normal green cardamom. Now, black cardamom is my absolute favorite. I love this stuff so much. It's smoky, mentholy. It's the same oil that's found in vapor rub, so, you know, shove a couple of these up your nose when you have a cold. I probably wouldn't do that. Not the brightest idea. But I love this stuff so much, and I will be using them in a video that I want to do, which is a red bean curry. Now, to use these, never throw them in just like whole. You want to give them a brief whack with a mortar or pestle or the back of a knife so you can crack them over and let the oil get into the seeds and fry them and release their flavor. I really love this stuff, and they're most often used in long, slow stewed dishes, and they are also paired with cinnamon quite a lot. Green cardamom is sort of a little bit different. It's used in a lot of sweet dishes like barfi. Barfi is like this... Okay, the thing about Indian desserts is that they're disgusting. It's all milk and sugar. It's gross. But yeah, they're used in desserts, and they're also in kormas. So if you like korma, get this. It's absolutely great. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot bay leaves. Can't be bothered to bring them out? Oh, I can't. They're pretty much only fried in hot oil at the start, and are often paired with green cardamom for a korma. These things, little demon things, are called cloves. I know it's in a powder in the same jar as well, but I rarely use cloves. These are done in 2 ways. They're either in garam masala, or they are fried in hot oil. You want to be very, very careful with cloves because they are pungent and they can overpower a dish so easily if you are not careful. You want to use them to about a half ratio of all the other spices that you have. Next is chilies, whole dried chilies, and these are basically top tier Kashmiri dried chilies, but the problem is they're out of date. You wish to find chilies that are soft and pliable because those ones still have the oil in them. Look at this. That's crap. You can't use that. So the only time I would use chilies that are out of date is in a ground mix for a specific dish. However, if you're going to fry them in hot oil in the tarka, don't use out of date chilies. You want to find fresh ones. So if you can't find Kashmiri chilies, just go with any dried chili that's smoky and deep in its flavor. There's one thing left. We have mace somewhere. Alright, now I don't have whole mace, I have ground mace. If you don't have, can't find mace, just use nutmeg. I can't remember whether you use more or less of it. This is not something that you really need. I almost never use it. It's sometimes used in garam masala, but I wouldn't get a garam masala that had mace in it personally. Alright, let's talk about the Bengali 5-spice mix and spices you can find in there. Now, Bengali 5-spice mix is also called panchphoron, and it's a very, very lovely mix that always contains whole spices. But this is a bad mix, and I'll tell you why in a second. There are 5 spices in these mix. Cumin seeds, mustard seeds, hang on, can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, cumin seeds, mustard seeds, black mustard seeds, mind you. Fennel seeds, fenugreek seeds, and kalonji seeds. Now, cumin you've already seen. Now, fennel is one of my favorites. I really love this stuff. It smells quite similar to the plant fennel. That lovely licorice, what's it called? I can't remember the name of that smell. But it's great. If you see a recipe with fennel seeds in it, do it. It's great. Now, if you see a recipe that calls for fennel powder, I highly recommend buying fennel powder because these are very, very tough to grind. They're very fibrous and quite painful to use. The next one is kalonji seeds, which are these tiny little black seeds. Now, by itself, they don't have much of an aroma, but when they're ground or fried in hot oil, they have a sort of peppery flavor to them. It's quite nice. Next, of course, is black mustard seeds. You've already seen that. What was the next one? Oh, fenugreek seeds. These are bitter, almost bittersweet in their flavor, and they're very hard. They're quite hard to grind down. You can't find them in powder, and absolutely no aroma to them whatsoever. Now, the thing is, when buying panchphoron, be careful. Look at the packets. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but as I said, they use black mustard seeds. You can see in there the little orbs are yellow. Those are yellow mustard seeds, not black, so this is a waste of money. I was quite unhappy when I found this out. Indian cooking almost never uses yellow mustard seeds, by the way. It's always black mustard seeds. So this is crap. So when you buy panchphoron, look carefully. Make sure you know what you're getting. Now, if you want to buy all of these spices, the 5 spices, you can. They will be in Indian stores. I don't recommend it, however, unless you're doing very specific dishes that calls for specific ratios. If you're going for a general a chari dish that calls for 1 teaspoon of each, just go with 5 teaspoons of panchphoron. There's no real need to get all 5. Alright, the battery on my camera is running out, so I have to be kind of quick about this. There are a few last things I want to talk about, so this will be a little bit rushed. Now, let's talk about sour reagents first off, and there are 3 primary ones. Tamarind, anardana, and mango powder. If you own, there's one more, kokum. However, I pretty much never use that. If you want to get 1 of these, or 2 of these, I always recommend tamarind and mango powder. Don't buy anardana. Now, tamarind is a sweet and sour kind of thing. It has a lot of body to it, and you can buy this in pretty much any grocery store, the normal paste. You can also get the whole block. You have to soak in water and squidge it out. It's kind of a whole thing. So this is very handy to have on hand if you can't be bothered with it. Mango powder is an essential. Well, it's sort of an essential, but if you're serious about Indian cooking, I would highly recommend getting this because it's used in a lot of dishes where you want to impart a more sour flavor and soak up a bit of moisture without any other flavor. It's slightly sweet, but not as sweet as tamarind. It's pretty much exclusively sour and of course tastes a little bit like mango. Yeah. Now, anardana, don't bother buying this unless you want to do Punjabi chole. And even then, I would recommend getting the powdered version because these are very hard to crush in a mortar and pestle. They're very sweet, very rich, and they're quite a unique flavor. So get the powder if you want to do a Punjabi chole, not the whole seeds. This is the only application I actually use anardana for. Now, let's talk about hing. There are 2 brands that I have, Vanvedi and LG. I would recommend LG because this is laced with a bit of turmeric. Oh god, it's gonna get everywhere. Yeah, it's all on, oh Jesus. It's a very pungent kind of thing. I think it's called devil's powder, and it's basically a dried latex. Oh. Now the way this is used, oh, it's on my hand. Now the way this is used, it's fried in hot oil at the start of a dish, or it's very sparingly put into a masala and chucked in later. But it's very rare to see that. I do use it in the dish that I want to use my black cardamom in. Now the thing about LG is that it's a better brand. It's basically the best you can find. However, the cap is absolutely terrible. It's this weird twisty thing, and you have to puncture it, and the smell gets everywhere. I mean, it's gonna get everywhere no matter what container you have, so always double bag it. Now, I do recommend buying this. You pretty much have to get it if you want to do quiet dishes all over the subcontinent. When you fry it in oil, it adds a flavor that's almost like, oi, stop it! Sort of like onions, garlic, butter. It's a mouthfeel kind of thing. It layers everything else. It's quite an interesting thing. Next is ajwain. Now I'm basically going off the random things now. Ajwain seeds are rarely used. They're used in two things. They're used in pakoras, which are deep fried vegetables, or bread. And they are very, very powerful. In bread, they have it's very similar to thyme, actually. Very, very similar. It's super powerful. You only need a pinch in the majority of dishes that you make. Like if I'm making a couple pieces of bread for me, and I want to add some carom seeds into it, I'll just use my 2 fingers. And even then, use like half of 2 fingers. Next is black salt. This is often used in Punjabi chole for a sulfurous, eggy components. It also seasons the dish, so if you use this, you gotta be careful with the rest of the salt. Vegans use this a lot because it gives its eggy flavor to a lot of other dishes as well. Now, I think that's it. Oh, you know what? There is actually one thing that I wanted to try before we sign off. Fennel seeds, in some parts of the continent, are used as a sort of refreshener with sugar. It's sort of like the after-dinner mint. Sort of half and half with sugar. I actually forgot these things. Fenugreek leaves, also called kasuri methi. They add a lovely maple flavor to the dish, often used at the end. So sorry about that little break, but I do recommend buying these. They're pretty nice. Woo! So I'm getting a little bit of sugar and a little bit of fennel seed. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? It's stuck in my teeth! The flavor's alright. Shit, that's bracing! I'm going to have a couple more videos and we'll talk about how to make a basic chicken curry, how to make a bean curry, also pantry essentials. So if you want to see more, give a like, give a comment saying what you want to see more of, and I'll try to answer you as soon as I can. So yeah, peace.